What's up, Undisputed listeners? It's your boy, Sharpe. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now back to Undisputed.
Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Jenny Taft. This podcast is the full show from today's episode of Undisputed from start to finish. They've got a busy slate, so skip Shannon. Let's get to it. Welcome to Undisputed. We are live from Los Angeles. I'm Jenny Taft here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Guys, good morning.
Good morning.
Finally. Tonight at Philadelphia, LeBron finally faces some real competition for the first time since the Clippers kicked his tail on opening night.
Dr. J back? Moses Malone, Charles Barkley?
Best big man in basketball is back
He
tonight.
in Denver.
No, he's in Philadelphia. You guys are not going to have any answer for Joel Embiid.
What's the answer for old GOAT? Old GOAT Day. What's that got there?
He's old, though. I'll give you that.
He is? He's old? Okay, well, we don't have the GOAT mask today, Shannon.
It's coming out tomorrow.
Unfortunately, maybe tomorrow. But how about we begin the show?
I want that same energy.
By talking about a different GOAT. Skip's GOAT. Tom Brady has been having a blast with his new team, according to his father, Tom Sr. He told the Boston Herald that his son has expressed genuine joy in seeing his teammates reach the Super Bowl for the first time. He also commented on Bill Belichick, though, saying after the Patriots' 7-9 season that Bill is, quote, on the hot seat right now. So, Shannon, what do you read into his comments?
It's easy to say Tom is having fun because he's in the Super Bowl. I want to know if his father would have said Tom had fun if they were 6-10. Had they not made it to the playoffs? Had they lost in the first round of the playoffs? Had they lost in the championship game? Because, Skip, you remember, I think it was Super Bowl, they played the Eagles, and Lane Johnson says, I know they've won a bunch of titles, but they don't have any fun. They're so robotic, and everybody's over there says the same thing. That's not fun. Tom Brady said winning is fun.
Well,
so that's
true.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
So his dad says he's having fun.
Yeah.
Is he genuinely having fun, or is it because they're winning? The question I would like to pose to Tom and Tom's father: would he trade more fun at practice, more being able to be himself for any of those 6 titles that he won in New England?
Well,
no, he would not.
No, but
okay then.
But still, is he having fun? Yes.
Skip. Winning is fun.
Okay.
So the question I ask you, so this is not rhetorical, I'm asking you, had Tom Brady not reached the playoffs, would he still be having fun?
Okay, if Shannon Sharpe hadn't reached the playoffs 3 times, would he have 3 Super Bowl rings?
No, Skip.
It's like he did it.
No, Skip.
Yes.
Skip. I won 3 Super Bowls and had fun every step of the way.
Okay.
If nobody ever thought I was mechanical, no one ever thought when Shannon's being controlled, they just do this, everybody has to be a certain way. I was able to be myself. You said it yourself. Tom was not allowed to be himself. Others have said Tom wasn't allowed to be himself.
Okay. Do you think Tom Brady is having more fun right now with Bruce Arians and his new young Tampa team, more fun than he ever had with any of the Patriot teams?
Skip, there's really no way to definitively say because he's in the same situation. He's winning. You can only judge a situation if you're not enjoying the same level. Now, there are some people, Skip, that just genuinely hate going to the job. There's a lot of people, Skip, work jobs 20, 30 years and they genuinely hated the job. There's no question. Tom loves his job, but what he loves more than being able to compete at the highest level and win while doing his job. And even though he transferred teams, he transferred locations, not jobs, locations. You know, sometimes you can transfer you to have the same job, but just go to and move to a different city. That's what Tom did. But he's still having the same level of success. But Skip, you know what happens, Skip, when a parent, significant other, someone close to said player says something, you know what people assume. Where that came from. So I'm happy for him. Before I turn it over to you, Skip, Mr. Brady Sr., Coach Belichick is in a situation like Coach K. He's in a situation like Coach John Wooden, Coach Dean Smith. Without scandal, they retire when they want to, on their terms. Coach Belichick's not going anywhere. He's not on any hot seat. That seat is not even on. As a matter of fact, it's in New England, Skip, and they didn't even turn the heating seats on. Coach Belichick is just fine. He's built up that kind of cachet in New England, so he's not on the hot seat.
Who did you list? Wooden, Coach K. Who else did you say?
Coach Smith, Dean Smith.
Dean Smith. Did any of those three coaches over the expanse of their brilliant careers, did they have a constant player who was with them the whole way?
No. You don't
no. Obviously, they would come and go.
Yeah, 4 years if you're lucky.
You're right. Okay. Until this year, Bill Belichick had a constant player at quarterback for the 20 years that he had great success in New England. Because remember, he was 14 games under 500 when Tom Brady fell out of heaven into his lap as a head coach in Cleveland, and then for the start of his career in New England, he was 14 games under 500.
Right. Yes.
So after that, he did have a constant for those many years, right?
You're right. But if you look at all the other turnovers, Coach Belichick did not view Tom Brady in any different light than any of the other guys that he turned over. That's why he let him go, Skip, because he believed Tom Brady was just like any other great player. He'd had a player that quality, but any great player that he's had, he felt he could replace him.
A cog in the system.
Yes.
Tom Brady was just another cog in the system.
We know that not to be true, but that's how Coach Belichick viewed it.
Okay. I stand by what I've told you for 4 years, almost we're going into our 5th year on this show.
Okay.
Tom Brady was 75% of why the New England Patriots became a dynasty. And I'll give Coach Belichick 25%. But now we're back to your premise on this show that you have expressed to me dozens of times on live television. When somebody near the athlete in question speaks, a family member or a close friend, you must assume that they heard these sentiments directly from the horse's mouth.
That is correct, yes.
I assume with all my heart and soul that all of the above came from Tom Jr. This is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Sr. speaking on behalf of Jr.
That's correct.
And he is speaking exactly what Jr. has expressed to him many times
what was conveyed to
in
him.
Private phone conversations. Correct?
Yes.
And there's always some surprise to me that Tom hasn't said, Dad, you got to stop talking to the media. But he never tells him to stop because he has consistently spoken to the Boston media, to anybody who wants to talk to him. And this is yet another time he's spoken to the Boston Herald, because he's done this many times with the same reporter.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. Mr. Brady does not speak often. So when he speaks, it carries even more weight, because it's not like he's like Jerry Jones out there every week.
Yep.
It's not something like that.
No, he doesn't like have a radio gig.
No, but I'm saying, if he wanted to, he could have a radio gig to talk about how well his son is playing and what his son is doing. He could have a gig. So when he speaks, you better listen.
Okay. And by the way, just for the record, the story broke a couple of days back that both Tom Sr. and his wife, who's fought through breast cancer, got COVID early in this football season.
Oh, man.
And Tom had to fight through that. So it was another distraction for Tom early in this football season, as he was trying to teach a fairly young team and a new coaching staff how this works, how to do it, how to win at the highest level. So that's why I think it's an even more so season for the ages for Tom Brady. Now, let's break this down in two phases here of what Tom Sr. said. Okay, the first sentiment I thought you would hit hard on, but we'll hit it right now, is Tom Sr. says that Jr. is every bit as much enthused about winning the Super Bowl this year for his teammates than he is for himself. Well, a lot of people are going to call baloney on that. Right. Maybe even Shannon Sharpe will call baloney, because it's like too good to be true. Wait a second. Tom cares even more about how happy he is for his teammates than he is for himself as he continues to build his GOAT legacy. Yeah. Well, that's the Brady I have known through others to be true, to be that he's authentically that guy.
Right.
Okay, do you buy it?
No.
Okay, I didn't think you would buy it, but again...
Because I've been in that situation, and while everybody's saying win one for John, my team is like, hell, I want one too. He doesn't have one, I don't have one. So if he wins one, I get one too. It wasn't Skip, and I'm not saying Tom wants to skip. So Tom understands what this Super Bowl would mean. Number 7, without Coach Belichick, and as you said, he does this, there's no question in your mind, he gets 75% of the credit. Now, the question I'm having for you, let's say Coach Belichick, within the next couple of years, he wins a Super Bowl. Now, where are you with the credit?
I'm right where I was.
So you're going to be 75 no matter what?
Because I'm going to say good luck to you and Coach Belichick winning a Super Bowl the next couple of years.
Well,
I don't see it.
Well, Skip, you know, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there. You know,
that cupboard looks really bare to me, even besides quarterback.
Yeah, the quarterback market is good, but the things around the quarterback in his market look very bad.
I don't get it. I don't know where they're heading, but I didn't know where they're heading post-Brady last year.
Right.
Okay, so this is the Brady I've heard about from so many ex-players who played with him, that they got so close to him, black players, white players, whatever color players, that prone to greeting them by kissing them on the cheek. I've never heard of that before. And again, this is the quarterback that I always tell you is shattering the mold of what a franchise quarterback, a superstar quarterback is supposed to be. He doesn't act like a superstar quarterback. He doesn't perform like a superstar quarterback in the mind's eye of the common viewer because he's not a highlight waiting to happen. He's not Patrick Mahomes throwing no looks or behind the back or left-handed passes.
Right.
He doesn't do that.
Well, Skip, I will concede this. Listening to NFL, inside the NFL, and listening to the conversation that he's having with his teammates. I mean, yeah, John and I spoke. John and me and my other quarterback spoke.
John Elway.
But I see how they interact with Tom and how he interacts with them. There's a genuine there's a genuine feeling of, man, he's out there doing it. Let's go do this. And we did that, but there was not, I don't remember having the conversations like, I mean, we discussed things, okay, what'd you see? This is what I saw. This is what I'm thinking. This is what you're thinking. But I'm just listening to the conversation, especially last week in Green Bay. Yeah, it's something, they have something special going on down there.
There's something special because he truly loves Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and now Lenny, as he calls him, Leonard Fournette, and Rojo, Ronald Jones, and he keeps the 3 running backs, including Shady McCoy. After practice, he wants to throw little short option routes to him. Practice. And they're like, Dad, really? Again? You know, okay. So there's something special brewing there where he loves the thought these guys could win a Super Bowl at a fairly young age. And as you know, it's a privilege, man. It just doesn't happen. So many players come and go and never even sniff a Super Bowl. So I believe he is genuinely happy for them as well as himself. And sure, it's all about Coach Belichick. I believe that Tom Brady deep down despises the way, not Coach Belichick, but the way Coach Belichick treated him in the end. He despises it. I think he is still driven by it, and it brings out his alter ego, Psycho Tom, when it's time to go win a playoff game on the road at Washington, New Orleans, or Green Bay.
I think the thing is, Skip, and I agree with you 1,000%, it's like a child. You treat a child as a child, but as it starts to mature and grow, you treat it differently. You have kids, I have kids. As my kids started to grow, I started to treat them differently as 10-year-olds than I did at 5, 15 than I did at 10. Now they're adults, I treat them totally different. Coach Belichick treated Tom Brady the exact same way when he got him, as he had him in year 10, year 15, year 20. Nothing had changed. And Tom is like, hold on, I'm mature, I'm a man now, I'm an adult. I think I've earned the right, I should have earned your trust by now to like, okay, carry a little more favor and I get treated a little differently. But Coach Belichick says no. He says, because if I treat you, everybody was watching Tom. Just like you said, the reason why Coach Belichick was able to control the locker room like he did, because Tom walked lockstep and barrel with it. So Coach Belichick knew that if he treated Tom any other way, guess what? The other guys were going to see that, and they was going to want preferential treatment.
And I believe that 2-3 years ago, Coach Belichick, hearing so many people calling him the GOAT coach, reached that point of self-delusion where you go over the edge into believing the hype. I am the GOAT. I'm the GOAT. It's all me. So what do I need him for? Hey, I'm going on 70. Why wouldn't I want a solo stage here? I don't need him. He's done.
Right.
I'm not done, but he's done. And he was able to finally convince Robert Kraft, listen, I'm sorry, he's a great kid, but we're going to be just fine without him. No, you're not. So that leads to part 2 of this interview with Senior, who says, Robert Kraft has been, this is him talking to the Boston Herald, Robert Kraft's been a spectacular owner for 25 years. He is sincere in his feelings for Tommy.
Oh, no question.
No question about that. So,
because that's what he calls him, too.
Yes, Tommy. So Senior, Brady, believes that Robert Kraft is 1,000% sincere and is rooting for Tom to win the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And he goes on and on about how the whole Kraft family, he believes, well, obviously, that they don't own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They still own the Patriots.
Right.
Okay, so he goes through this whole soliloquy about how much the Kraft family still means to his son Tommy.
Yes.
But there's a glaring omission. He doesn't mention Coach Belichick until the reporter says, Mr. Brady, what about Coach Belichick? He kind of chuckles a little bit and says, I'm guessing he's on a little bit of a hot seat right now. Okay, I define that hot seat as not his job hot seat.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm talking about a hot seat in the court of public opinion.
Yes.
Simply that.
Yes.
The court of public opinion, if you want to, in Patriot Nation.
Yeah.
Because they have to be doubting, wait a second, he went 7-9, and now it looks like Cam won't be back, and it can't be Jared Stidham, and it's definitely not Brian Hoyer.
Correct.
So who is it? Will one of the quarterbacks fall to them in the draft? Probably one of them will, but is that the answer?
Right.
Will he be the next GOAT? Will he immediately fill the winged cleats of Tom Brady?
To hope that the guy falls to you and you get lucky like Andy Reid got traded up, because he still had to trade up 17 spots to get Mahomes at the 10th spot.
Yep.
Do you believe any of these quarterbacks is going to be the next Mahomes that's in this draft?
I don't see it.
I don't either.
Justin Fields could fall to him. And I like and I want to love Justin, but then there'll be stretches where I'm not sure.
The inconsistency, because you watch him last year, the year before we had the COVID situation, and he was spectacular. And then you watch him this year, it was up and down, up and down, up and down.
Okay. So when it comes to job situation, I do believe that Bill Belichick's on the hot seat with Robert Kraft as buying the groceries, as the de facto GM. I know they always hire somebody and say Nick Caserio was the GM. Right. No, Belichick makes all these decisions.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. If that's the case, if Coach Belichick is doing all the shopping, how does these Belichick disciples keep getting GM jobs? I thought you wanted someone to make the decision.
I think that's a great question. And you could ask the Houston Texans that.
Oh, the coaches. I wanted someone that had head coaching experience, and they interviewed Josh McCown.
Okay, bingo. I'm with you. But Nick Caserio, to me, is little more than doing the legwork for Bill Belichick. From day to day, he's going to work the phones and keep up, and he's going to give lots of scouting reports, set them on the desk of Belichick, and all the final decisions will be made by Coach Belichick. I would think at some point Robert Kraft's going to have to take that responsibility away from Bill Belichick, and I think that's also what Tom Sr. is talking about. At some point, he's on the hot seat for the direction the franchise is not heading. It's heading south.
Well, here's the thing, Skip. Mr. B wanted Mike to continue to coach, but Mike also had the GM title.
Yeah.
So you couldn't fire the GM, Mr. Bolin and Mike Shanahan
to go on.
He wanted him to be the coach. But he wanted to fire him as a GM.
I got it.
Well,
Same situation.
So if you fire the GM, you got to fire the coach. So I don't see a situation, Skip, where you take Skip, can you imagine when you have that much power for that length of time, and someone says, you know what, you can stay in this role, but I'm going to take that role. Well, I don't know if you fire Coach Belichick. Coach Belichick is more apt to resign.
Okay, well, he might walk out the door, and he might get pushed to walk out the door because the Kraft family is very patient, but I think they're not going to be patient going into year 2 if, in fact, Brady could pull off winning this Super Bowl. It would put extreme time pressure on Belichick.
Skip.
He wouldn't be given a long rope here.
Skip, if I'm not mistaken, I think Mr. Kraft purchased the Patriots in '94, the year after Drew Bledsoe was selected in '93. They've been to 11 Super Bowls in his tenure. That's 27 years. And so you mean to tell me after 1 or 2 years of downtime, you would be ready to move on from Coach Belichick?
You just described a very spoiled owner who expects greatness instantly.
Well,
right?
Because, Skip, guess what? 2 years in, he goes to the Super Bowl. Now, he lost to the Packers, and then you have that stretch. But I think Mr. Kraft understands. He's been in business long enough. Everybody's not going to have a business like Amazon or like Apple or like Google. Sometimes you have to struggle. But his thing, he was Google. He was Google. Google tried to sell itself at one point in time to Microsoft for $1 billion. That's overpriced. And now you can't buy it for $800 billion. So he understands. If you're in business, Skip, you understand. Sometimes you get these meteoric rises, but more times than not, Skip, it ain't no.
Okay, I got it. Buffalo is not going away. Miami is not going away. The Jets have to get better under Robert Saleh, especially what if they land Deshaun? What if they do? Or whichever quarterback of your liking after the first pick, obviously. They're going to get better. The heat will get turned up hotter and hotter on Belichick. That's why he does have some hot seat under him. But this is the ultimate touche by Tom Brady. I've never seen anything like this. He went and took a 7-9 team, the losingest franchise in all of sports, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and he took them on the road through Washington, through Drew Brees, through Aaron Rodgers, to a Super Bowl, obviously against Patrick Mahomes. Now the mountain is even higher. It will be a huge challenge, but if he pulls it off, you want to talk about sticking it to Bill Belichick. And I believe this whole year, as far as just Brady is concerned, has been all about sticking it to Coach Belichick, to getting even with Bill Belichick. And by
Well, I think the biggest thing that Tom Brady wanted to do, Tom Brady wanted to play well. And in the process of me playing well, that's another, I threw for 305 touchdowns. Hey, Coach Belichick, you see what Tom did in Tampa? Oh, Coach Belichick, he had another 300 yard and 4 touchdowns. You see what he did? So in the process of, he wanted to play well. And then as the process of later he got in the season, they're like, hold on. This team got a realistic chance here. I'm looking at Green Bay. Yeah, Green Bay and New Orleans and Seattle. But Tampa is really starting to play well. And then boom, and then step by step. And then Tom started like, hold on, wait a minute. Coach Belichick.
I'm going to say it one last time, maybe the second or third to the last time. There's one man in sports you do not bet against, and Bill Belichick made the fatal mistake of betting against Tom Brady even at age 43. And he is getting exposed because he made that mistake.
I don't know if he necessarily bet against him. Coach Belichick liked his hand and bet on himself.
Okay.
And his hand wasn't as good as Tom's. Because, Skip, you have to look at it. I look at what Tom did is what Peyton Manning did. Now, even though Tim Tebow led them to the the playoffs, Skip, they were 8-8. But that team was loaded. You look at the offense, you look at Demarius Thomas, Eric Decker, Julius Thomas, Noshawn Marino, a solid offensive line. Defense was out the yin-yang.
But they were 1-4 to start the year.
Right. But I'm saying they were 8-8 on the regular season. And Peyton looking around like, hold on, Tennessee, Arizona, they ain't got that talent. And so when Tom surveyed the landscape.
But I think he saw something the rest of us didn't really see. Not like that.
Well, no, Tampa was not on anybody's radar because you're like, are they really going to part ways with Jameis? I know he turned the ball over, but that's 5,000. He did throw for 5,200 yards. They're going for an opportunity to that. There are not very many teams, Skip, that wouldn't. They're not very, like Aaron Rodgers. There are not very many teams that's not going to get off their quarterback for Aaron Rodgers. Maybe, 4, 5?
So, golly gee whiz, Tom Jr., just let Tom Sr. say, Belichick, you're on the hot seat, right?
I liked hearing from Dad. I feel like that makes sense.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app right now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. Download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com.
No mercy.
The Bucs will become the first team in NFL history to play the Super Bowl in their home stadium, and head coach Bruce Arians thinks it's a, quote, huge advantage for his team. Arians says the ability to sleep in their own beds and keep their own routines will be key for his squad. Tampa did have to win 3 straight road games in the playoffs in order to make the Super Bowl, so it should be a welcome change of pace for Tom Brady and company to stay at home the rest of the way. So, Shannon, do you agree it is a huge advantage here?
No, because it's a different Super Bowl. The Chiefs are not leaving to head down to Tampa until Saturday. So the normal distraction that you would normally have, Skip, of being not in your own situation for an entire week and possibly having the guys try to partake in the festivities that's going outside of the Super Bowl, sure. But you're not going to have that this week. This is not a normal Super Bowl, Skip. Now, the NFL said the capacity is going to be 22,000 fans. 7,500 of them will be frontline workers. The rest will come from a lottery from the other 30 teams. So it's not like the other 16,000 or however many, that's 15,000, what it's going to be, Skip, is going to be Tampa Bay fans. So you're looking at a stadium that's 30% capacity. But the question I asked Bruce Arians, how did the normal work routine work out for the teams that you beat on the way to the Super Bowl? Green Bay got to sleep in their bed. New Orleans got to sleep in their beds. Washington got to sleep in their beds. It's different. Guess what, Skip? You remember how they used to have media day the night before and everybody up on a big old stage and 5,000 press credentials are given out and everybody's talking and a lot of people asking questions that don't have anything to do with football? They don't even got that. This year they sitting in front of the Zoom. So this is going to be more like for me, this doesn't, other than it's the Super Bowl, Skip, nothing about this feels like a Super Bowl because you're doing everything like you've been doing all year through Zoom. You can go into practice and guess what? Guys are going to go home and they're going to sleep in their own beds. So I'm going to disagree with Bruce Arians on this one because this is a Super Bowl unlike any other. Maybe he would be right if they had to go down there and there's a, Skip, you know how it is. Every year sometimes guys get caught up. You know, in Tampa they got the, what's that district called, Skip? Ybor. I think that's Ybor City. I think that's what it's called, Ybor City. And they got Mons, Venus down there. I don't know anything about that, y'all, but I'm just saying.
I really don't know anything about it, but you seem to.
I don't know nothing about that. I don't know. But I might have walked by it. I didn't go in. I walked by it.
Yes, you might have explored it once or twice.
No, I walked by and say, no, I don't need to go in there because I don't want the people see me going in there and think I'm. No. But, Skip, I disagree with Bruce on this one. I don't see the advantages that you would normally get had it been a regular Super Bowl and they got to do things on their normal schedule, go home, sleep in normal beds. But because they're not traveling until Saturday and probably Tampa, I don't know if they let them because, normally, Skip, the night before the game, everybody would go to the hotel. But because of COVID, they might be allowed to sleep one extra day.
Maybe.
Saturday night, they might stay. So I don't see the advantages that Bruce Arians think he would have gotten had it been a normal Super Bowl. Because it's not normal, I don't see the advantages gained.
Okay. So, you know how I feel about Bruce Arians? He talks too much. And he can't stop talking because he loves to hear himself speak. And now that he's on the Super Bowl stage, I'm actually relieved that it won't be the regular week where he's still going to have a lot of Zoom-type opportunities here.
But can you imagine media day with him?
No, I cannot, because he just can't help himself. So I do believe that Tampa has some advantage. I'm not going to go all the way to huge, but I'll go some. But there's no reason for him to say it publicly. If he believes it, just keep it to yourself, because it doesn't do you any good to speak that publicly unless you really think you can play mind games with the Chiefs, who obviously just won last year's Super Bowl. I don't think you can. I don't think you're going to win that game.
Most of their guys on that team, Skip, have Super Bowl experience. And they did it when it was a normal Super Bowl.
Okay, now, back to your point. I'm going to flip it around a little bit.
Okay.
Obviously, you've played in 3 Super Bowls. I've covered Super Bowls all the way back to the middle 70s. In fact, my first one was out here. Fran Tarkenton versus Kenny Stabler, Minnesota versus the Raiders.
That been 77. Old man Willie picked him.
Yeah. And it was out here at was it the Rose Bowl? I think it's the Rose Bowl. I don't know. I get foggy. The point is, I know what it feels like in a normal Super Bowl week, and the distractions are enormous for the team that's the newcomer.
Right.
If you have one with some Super Bowl or a lot of Super Bowl experience, it just doesn't matter anymore. And you knew that feeling, especially when you got to Baltimore.
Correct.
They knew the drill.
Right.
You know what has to get done and what can't be done.
Right.
You're going to wait. It's still a business trip. You know how that goes.
You try to explain them, Skip. The Super Bowl, the game Sunday, that's for you. All the festivities, that's for the people that's coming down to watch you on Sunday.
All right, I got it. I think it will benefit Tampa fairly hugely that a young team with very little Super Bowl experience, that I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 players with Super Bowl experience. Obviously, Brady's going to his 10th, Gronk's going to his 5th, but then there are
AB's played in 1.
AB's 1. Shaq Barrett's played in 1, but he didn't play much for Denver. JPP played in 1. Sue played in 1. LaShawn played in last year's with Kansas City. So they got 1, 1, 1, 1, 1.
Right.
So after that, you got 48 other players on the roster who have no idea. Well,
and a lot of those players don't even know what it's like to play the playoff game, so let alone.
Let alone. So they just won 3 road playoff games, and yet now they're going to be kept out of harm's way because there's no Super Bowl week. And number 2, you don't even have to fly.
Right.
So you are literally staying business as usual at home.
Right.
Where you're sleeping in your own bed, like to your point. Will they go to a hotel the night before? They might or might not, given the COVID
situation. Right.
But in the end, I think it will benefit them greatly to be out of harm's way where they'll have little to no media. I know they're going to make the players do various Zoom sort of interviews, but really? It won't be anything like you guys.
Because you know what it was going to be like. That would have been Tuesday night. Tuesday night is when they had a big media night. They put that in prime time.
Now they're doing it Monday, right? They started doing the big Monday bash.
Oh, I forgot.
Right?
I'm thinking Super Bowl this Sunday. Oh, we got another week. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how they do the big press thing, Skip, because, you have your big superstars and they lined up on the stage.
Yep.
You have Mahomes and Kelsey and Tyreek and Chris Jones probably. You have about 5 or 6 of your big guys. They're on the stage.
Yep.
And everybody's crowded around them. And then you have your other guys. They're up in the, in the stands.
So I do think it benefits those 48 players with no Super Bowl experience that they get to practice in the shadow of the field. You literally look over the practice field fence and the stadium rises up right there.
Right.
So you're like, oh, we're home. We're good. Okay, back to the healthcare workers, all of them double vaccinated.
Right.
There are approximately 7,500, which will be 1/3 of the audience that's going to be allowed in. But from what I'm reading, a majority of those 7,500 will come from the Tampa area.
Right.
So the odds are better that they'll be Tampa fans, or at least want to root for the home team, right? So the crowd will probably be pro-Bucs. I'm going to guess it'll feel up at home. I told you all year long. I don't really love them at home.
You prefer to be on the road.
Because they're 5-3 at home. They went 6-2 during the regular season at home, and now they're 9-2 on the road with 3 straight wins in the playoffs. Okay, so I just assume you go play this one at Green Bay. It'd be fine with me. But in the end, just for normalcy, just for business as usual, routine, you couldn't do it better for this team to get ready for this game, because I don't think it will feel like it has near the magnitude of the usual Super Bowl.
But I like Kansas City because they get to do their normal routine.
Yep.
They don't have to practice on the road. They get to practice at home, and they treat it just like a trip, Skip, during the year that they were traveling. We're going to practice. Obviously, this is the week where you do install. Now, I don't know how everybody else do it. Now, some teams do it, Skip. They do their install once they get down to the location. But the way we did it every time we had we're in the Super Bowl, we installed the week before.
Yeah.
And then once we got down there, everything was a dress rehearsal. Let's tighten this up. We know what we're going to do. Boom, boom, boom. That's how we did it. I believe, Andy, now the West Coast, they always install the week before. I don't know how BA is going to do it, but I'm telling you how the West Coast people do it. They install the week before. So they're in their normal routine, Skip. Guess what? We do an install. We're going to have 2 weeks of great practice. We're going to hit the road Saturday before the game.
Yeah.
Go play.
By the way, there was also one Jimmy Johnson who in his first Super Bowl with the 92 Cowboys, they came out here to play at Pasadena, and they were staying over in Santa Monica near the ocean, practicing at UCLA. And guess what he did on Thursday before the Super Bowl?
Put him in pads.
All pads, and they thudded, as you say. They thudded, and I happened to be in the hotel lobby when they got back, and I remember John Giesick, a veteran offensive guard for that team, was just furious and pulled me aside and said, "You can't believe what he just made us do." Well, they went out and demolished the Buffalo Bills, right? So it worked.
Yes.
So there are lots of ways to skin this cat,
Right.
but I think with Brady at the helm, who is the co-head coach, now we're back to what happens. You're going to start hearing this all week, next week especially, but Andy Reid has been spectacular when you give him 2 weeks to prepare, either off a bye week in the regular season or off if you give him a bye going into a playoff
Right.
game. He is 26-5, regular and post combined, when he has had 2 weeks to get ready for a game because he's really good at what he does. He will come up with ways to exploit your weaknesses.
Because you think about it, Skip, you think about what the plays that he come up with from week to week.
Yep.
That, like, Andy, do you even sleep?
Yep.
Because for you to just think about stuff like this, and now he has 2 weeks to prepare. And it's going to be very interesting to see the first 15, the first 20 that Kansas City comes out of the gate with. Because normally they come out the gate smoking. And that's what they hit Buffalo, Skip, they hit Buffalo with that. And they never look back. And that's how they get you.
Well, the biggest smoke job they did all year was at Tampa Bay in the first quarter when Tyreek had 203 receiving yards.
Well, Skip, I think they'll play a little closer attention to Tyreek.
I would hope so.
And you're probably not gonna single him up with anybody.
Okay, so counteracting Andy Reid's 26-5 is this guy who I still say is the unofficial head coach of the other team and the offensive coordinator, and his name is Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., and he is 32-8 in his career with 2 weeks to prepare. One of those 2 weeks came against Andy Reid and the Eagles. You remember Donovan and Terrell Owens back in what was Brady's third Super Bowl, right?
It's in Jacksonville.
In Jacksonville, okay? And the final score was much closer than the game because they pretty much controlled the game the whole way. Okay, so Andy didn't pull that one off.
Right.
But I'm going to say give Tom Brady. I wouldn't underestimate Brady as the de facto offensive coordinator with 2 weeks to get ready for Andy Reid's defense, coached by Steve Spagnuolo.
Well, I think that's the best thing for both teams, Skip. If you have some little bumps and bruises, you give the guys an opportunity. Two guys on both sides that missed the championship game will get an opportunity to heal up. And I'm glad. You know, a lot of people, they used to have, you remember, they used to go, you go to championship game, and if you won, you fly straight to the Super Bowl. But now they give them 2 weeks. You get guys an opportunity that possibly would have missed the game. You give them an opportunity to play. So I think everybody's going to be as close to full strength, except the Chiefs. You know, those two offensive linemen going to be huge. That's going to be what's bearing out. But everybody's going to be, Skip, I done had 2 weeks to prepare for you. You had 2 weeks to prepare for me. Let's get it on.
Antoine Winfield Jr. back, or so they say. Antonio Brown back, or so they say. 2 weeks to get ready. Tampa's going to be pretty much full speed, full strength.
I have to say, sleeping in your own bed, I know, Shannon, you did think it was a big advantage there. To me, that would be everything in terms of comfort. So we'll have to see how that one plays out. A big accomplishment. Either way, you're not sleeping. That's probably a good point. You're a little too nervous. Well, Tom Brady may not be nervous because he's been there before. He has continued to play at a high level despite turning 43 and changing teams during a pandemic. Brady led the league in deep ball yards and attempts, according to Pro Football Focus. He also only had 17 turnover-worthy plays in his first season compared to the likes of Carson Palmer, James Winston, and Andrew Luck, who had over 40 each in their first seasons with Bruce Arians. So, Shannon, you've talked before about Brady's declining skill set. I am going to bring it up. So how much has Brady's skills actually declined?
I am surprised, Skip, that he's still able to throw the ball as well as he has. I think a lot of that has to do with playing in Tampa, being in the warm weather. As you get older, you know, there's a reason people move to the warm weather as they start to age, Skip, and you try to get out of the cold. I think, I don't think he moves quite as well, although you say he has great pocket feet, and he does, but I still don't think he moves quite as well as he once did. I think the biggest thing, the biggest reason that Tom Brady has enjoyed success is the talent level around him. I believe this is the most talented offense that he's been a part of.
I agree.
Even if you include the 2007, when you factor in Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Antonio Brown, the two tight ends.
He handpicked it because of that. Go ahead.
So I think that has a lot to do with it, Skip. really good receivers, 2 good tight ends. Offensive line has been better than they thought it would because offensive line, Tristan Wirth, you can see why they traded up, 1 spot, 2 spots to make sure they get that guy. There's like, if Brady's coming here, we need to make sure he's protected because there's nothing worse than a quarterback that's agitated because he cannot, he's not getting the protection that he needs. The difference is between Tom and other quarterbacks is that Tom was able during the bye week to convince BA to give me a little bit of what I did in New England.
No doubt.
Give me some motion, give me some play action. Where he got the other guys in their younger stages, and that was all they knew. So they ran BA's offense. No risk it, no biscuit, push the ball down the field.
Yep.
And we saw when Tom has to throw the ball down the field more than he wants, bad things happen. We saw, they say he only had 17 turnover-worthy plays. Well, he's had like 6 or 7 of those just in the playoffs.
Yep.
So I think that has a lot to do with it, Skip. Is he the same player this year that he say he was even 5 years ago? No, but the talent around him is exponentially better than what he had 5 years ago. So you don't really notice if it's, Skip, if it's a drop-off in his play.
Okay. So the operative word in what I'm about to talk about is separation. And where you and I have separated all year long is, I'm going to say it one more time. Tom Brady looks just like Tom Brady to me. He looks like 43 going on 23. I see no decline in any skills, any foot skills or arm skills. Okay. You have suggested he was washed up last year. And I'm going with the hashtag washed goat because
that hashtag has already been taken.
Washed king was taken a year ago, and then he unwashed it, right? And I'll give you that. Well, Brady just unwashed it, and now it's just hashtag GOAT. There's no washed in front of it anymore. I'm sorry. I actually think his arm has gotten stronger in his later years as he's worked more and more closely with the guy Colin Cowherd had on his show yesterday, Tom House, who's based out here at USC. Guy I know very well from his years as the pitching coach of the Texas Rangers. He is a genius at throwing mechanics. He's helped everybody. Drew Brees, name somebody, he's helped them out. And I think he has helped Tom perfect his release and his delivery to the point that the arm looks stronger than ever to me.
Let me ask you this, though. Do you believe Tom would have looked as good as he did this year had he stayed in New England?
Okay, good question. Now I'm going to ask the question that Pro Football Focus asked to go into the stat breakdown. How could a quarterback at Brady's age follow up a down season, which you said he had, it wasn't pretty, a down season like 2019 with such an elite season and 3 straight playoff road wins en route to his 10th Super Bowl appearance? Question mark. The key word is separation. Do you remember Brady sitting on the bench during a lull in play last year, and we got to hear him mic'd up, or you could hear the boom mic catch him, and he was saying, separate. Remember, he's yelling at his receiver, separate. So, what is the essence of throwing and catching a football? It's separation. What could Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe do for John Elway or even for Trent Dilfer? He could separate. You have to be able to see. Shannon, 84, is starting to distance.
They need to see some air between you and the defender.
And it needs to be starting to move this way where you can see I am able to get the ball to him before they close on him. Okay, last year, I kept telling you the New England Patriots were dead last in what Pro Football Focus ranked as separation. They just couldn't get open. And all of a sudden, he gets some receivers who can separate. And I'm not saying there's a Tyreek there because there's not. I'm not even saying there's a Kelsey there because there's definitely not a Kelsey.
Compared to what he had in New England, that's what they are?
That's what they are. I totally agree. So I don't want to stat everybody to death, but please bear with me because these are worth mentioning.
Okay,
try to let these soak in. What Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who led the league in turnovers last year, thanks to Jameis, who had a horrendous year in no risk it, no biscuit offense, and they led the league in penalties. Well, that's a bad combination. Okay, Tom Brady led this league this year in deep ball yards and attempts. So think about this. Just in deep ball attempts, he's throwing it farther. He's risking more than anybody risked. Well, if you have a noodle arm, you're just not capable. Arians would see that right away and say, we got to dial it down. We got to dumb it down. We can't try that. He's throwing bomb after bomb after bomb. Well, guess what happened in the first year that Andrew Luck tried this offense, or Jameis, or Carson Palmer? Each of those three guys had 40-plus what they call turnover-worthy plays.
Right.
40-plus. Guess how many Brady had this year? 17.
But here's the difference.
In his first year in Arians' offense.
What did all those guys do? All those guys was what coming out of college? Turnover prone. Jameis was a turnover machine.
He was.
Andrew Luck was a turnover machine.
I told you that 1,000 times.
And the thing is, Skip, is that, like I said...
I'm not saying Carson Palmer was a turnover machine, but... Okay, go ahead.
But I look at this, I look at it like this, Skip. You got young guys, and the only offense they know is the offense you're teaching them.
Okay.
So they didn't have anything that they could pull back on and says, well, B.A., can we do some of this?
Yep.
B.A., can we do some of that? Thomas says, B.A., check this out. I understand that your offense, and it's a very good offense, but in order for me to maximize what I can do really well, can you give me a little of this? Can you give me a little of that?
Yep.
If you look at B.A. when he had Peyton Manning never won in motion. Guys line up, Marvin, you on the right, Reggie, you on the left, Dallas Clark, Brandon Stokely, you on the slot. We're going to relemn personnel.
Okay.
Guys out. That's what we did.
Yep.
But all of a sudden, after the bye week, what did they come out doing, Skip? You see motion. You see Godwin in motion. You see Scotty Miller in motion. You see the tight ends bounce, go in short motion and come back. You see play action a lot more than what we saw the first 8, 9, 10, 11 games of the season. So he allowed Tom to do some of the things that he did really well. It's like a chef, Skip. I understand that this is but can you allow me to put some of my pizzazz into it, Skip?
Yep.
We're going to still cook some ratatouille.
Okay.
But can I pizzazz it up a little bit?
All right, couple more stats. So Brady led the whole league in deep ball attempts, yet he also led the league. He was number one in the NFL in lowest turnover-worthy plays. It was 2.2% of all those deep throws. Nobody threw it deeper more than Brady did, but on turnover-worthy, he was at the top of the list in fewest. Okay? You got to credit that. You got to honor that.
Did they do playoffs? Because guess who's at the top of the list in playoff and turnover-worthy plays? Who do you think is at the top of the list, Skip?
Okay, but we're just doing, this is from the regular season.
Okay.
Okay, but guess who's ranked number one by Pro Football Focus in overall grade of playoff quarterbacks? Number one, Tom Brady.
I don't know how.
Number one. Well, I do.
How is he ranked in front of Patrick Mahomes?
Hey, look at his QBRs. They're outstanding.
Patrick, has he ever had a 96? Which one is better than 96?
But his three were up in the, up close to 80.
Where was Patrick Mahomes? I mean, he did get knocked out of game 3. Skip, Brady threw 12 interceptions in the regular season, which was 6th most. He threw 3 in Green Bay, which should have been 5.
Okay. All right, but it was 3, and one of them wasn't his fault. The first, the middle one off Mike Evans hits him. He gets both hands on it. It's intercepted.
Okay, hold on. Well, Skip, the one he threw to Chris Godwin should have been intercepted. It's a whole safety, and he threw it. Okay. Why would you throw that?
All right, okay, I got it. Now, I'm going to finish these stats here. This is during the regular season. First read throws, so he's getting rid of the football. He was second in passing grade in the whole league on first read throws. So he's just saying, boom, it's gone.
Yeah, it's open. If it's open, you take it.
And guess who had the 3rd best pass protection in the league? This guy did.
Yes.
Okay, so it all goes together.
Yes.
Separating. I can see you quickly, and I'm going to get the ball to you quickly, and I'm being protected.
So in other words, it's not so much that he's improved. The environment around him has improved.
No, but the offense is rigged. It's geared to making big mistakes. That's what they do. Every quarterback in the first year made huge mistakes. The great ones made huge mistakes.
We've never, he got Peyton Manning as a rookie. He got Andrew Luck as a rookie. He got Ben Roethlisberger as a young player. So the only guy that had some time under his belt was Carson Palmer.
Yeah.
And Carson Palmer had gotten beaten up so much in Cincinnati. He was a little gunshot. But Skip, my thing is that you gave me all those stats, and you said the separation, and you said the offensive line protection. So in other words, everything around him has gotten better. he might be the same player that he was in New England, but because everything else around him has gotten better, he looks better.
Yeah, he's the same player he was in New England when he was 23. That's what's happening.
That's he was that player. The 23-year-old was a game manager.
Okay,
this guy
at his peak in New England, he has re-reached that peak.
Yeah, probably his peak probably what, 2007 started that peak?
Yep. And just real quick, I got to show you one throw and tell me this looks like a rag arm throw, if you would. He steps into this. That's just a rocket. Yeah. That he can throw with serious velocity at age 43.
That was a great throw, but a terrible route because he gave the guy a chance to cut up underneath the skip. He's supposed to be flat on this.
But he did catch it.
He caught it. But I can assure you, Tom is in meetings. What you think he's telling him in Super Bowl? You got to come flat that. You don't give that defensive back. Tom did a great job of throwing him open because that guy was supposed to jet that when you open up the field like that.
That was 3rd and 8. So now Tom has 2 weeks to teach the kids a little more about how to get open against Kansas City.
That kid has made some big he made that big 3rd down catch in New Orleans. That was a big catch right there, and he got the PI.
Pass interference.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love seeing Tyler Johnson have success. He is from Minneapolis, yeah. I'm really excited to see him have success on this stage. And, of course, looking forward to it in the Super Bowl.
No mercy.
Hey, Undisputed listeners, it's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we can all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you.
No mercy.
So Aaron Rodgers clarified his post-game remarks about his future being uncertain after the Packers' NFC Championship loss. Rodgers said on the Pat McAfee show that he was being authentic in the moment and ultimately his future isn't entirely in his control. Hashtag Thank You Aaron began to trend on Twitter, apparently thanking him for his weekly interviews. And Skip, you responded to it with a bit of a sarcastic tweet. So if you could please explain yourself.
Yeah, a whole lot of a sarcastic tweet. Shannon Sharpe. I sat there yesterday afternoon watching this trend for, I don't know, 5 or 6 hours. Hashtag Thank You Aaron. I was dumbfounded. I was outraged. And I kept thinking, how could Packer Nation let him get away with what he just got away with? How could they be so gullible to let him flip the script on them? So I did. This is what I tweeted, if we could see it. Hashtag Thank You Aaron for letting down Packer Nation in all 5 of your NFC Championship games, even the first one when you barely hung on to beat Caleb Haney, and especially the last one in the 4th quarter against Brady and the Bucs. Thank you for so entertainingly deflecting any blame. Okay, so think about what he just pulled off. He managed to go from stinking up the 4th quarter on Sunday at home as the #1 seed against a Tampa defense that had lost both of its starting safeties to somehow turning himself into a sympathetic figure in the eyes of many Packer fans who went so far as to then thank him for what? So they were thanking him for his weekly appearances on his media gig that he does. And he's great on it, but obviously he's very entertaining, but they're not going to put him on any hot seat. They're not going to cross-examine him or ask him any tough questions or challenge him. It's, I assume, a paid gig that he does every, what is it, Monday during football season? Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, maybe it's Tuesday. And I guess they were thanking him because suddenly, immediately after the game, he managed to flip the script from I'm the one to blame and I owe you an apology to, oh, it was Matt LaFleur's fault. And then bigger picture, it was Packer management's fault for not getting me enough help, for drafting a quarterback instead of getting me a receiver or a better cornerback or whoever whatever you want to do with that pick. And I've always told you that Aaron Rodgers is greatest at front running in a great way and blame deflecting. He's the master of blame deflecting, and this was absolutely brilliant to be able to turn this around, to reverse the knees, thanking him and begging him, oh, Aaron, don't leave, because he began to drop cryptic hints that maybe he'll retire, maybe he'll demand a trade. Definitely he's going to demand more money, really more money. Yeah. And again, just to drive this home, he's now lost 4 straight championship games, and I defy anybody to go show me that he played great in any of those games up to his, what's he about to win, his 3rd MVP.
Right.
He didn't play up to that level in any of those 4 losses. And if we go back to that first one, they're up at Chicago 14-0 at half. Jay Cutler hurts his knee, can't play in the second half. Somebody named Caleb Haney had to stand in for him. And Aaron in the second half went 7 of 15 for a grand total of 88 yards with an interception. And Caleb Haney threw for 153 in the second half and got them all the way to 4th and 5 at the Green Bay 29 late in the game, trying to tie the game at 21-all.
Yeah. The game that you criticizing Aaron Rodgers for winning, Tom Brady just had the exact same game against Green Bay. He was 6 of 11 with 2 interceptions in the 4th quarter, but his team won.
Really?
Yes.
You mean Tom Brady, who played the greatest first half of any of his playoff games?
Well,
any. Super Bowl, name it.
But here's the thing.
He needed to set a tone, and he said it like gangbusters.
You do realize that Aaron Rodgers was up on this Bears defense by 14 going into the 4th quarter with Brian Urlacher, Briggs, and Julius Pepper, who had all made the Pro Bowl, and that was the 4th-ranked scoring defense in all of football.
Yep. And he threw an interception to Urlacher that nearly ruined it.
Yeah, and you got through 2 that nearly ruined
but
it.
Yours got returned. Mine didn't get returned. None of the, did he hurt the Bucs?
Yeah,
no.
that didn't hurt them because they didn't score. Remember? The Bucs. I mean, the Bears. Skip, look. Aaron Rodgers is well aware that now he swung the pendulum of power back in his favor. He understands that. Mark Murphy said, oh, we're not idiots. He's going to be our quarterbacks. So what were you in drafting Jordan Love last year? Were you idiots then, or are you not idiots now? Because Aaron Rodgers has said, oh, you think I'm so great now. You understand what I am, but you just didn't understand it 6 months ago. So how did you get so smart? What tutorial did you go to? What classes did you take, Mark Murphy, that makes you Einstein in this very moment?
Okay.
He has the power. He says, now, and what he was saying is that Corey Linsley, not under contract. What we know, centers make a lot of money on that. My running backs, Aaron Jones, 2 running backs, they're not under contract. My second receiver, he's not under contract. Don't get cheap on me. Don't get cheap. You get cheap, I get gone. It's as simple as that.
Is that the right time after you blew a home playoff game?
There's never the wrong time to say the right thing. So I just want you to know, if you get cheap, I get gone.
Your brother, your big brother, played in Green Bay, and you made a couple trips up there to watch. And in those days, what did they refer to Green Bay as? What was its
Titletown.
Titletown.
It's Titletown.
So they're not that interested in MVPs, I thought. I thought they were more interested in championships. So Aaron got to 1 Super Bowl long ago, galaxy far away. It was
First of all, hold on.
And he won it.
Whoa, I need a timeout. I need 20 seconds. Give me 20 seconds, Jenny. Now, you keep talking about Titletown.
Yeah.
I know a team that's been known as America team. And they had one.
We're going to change the subject.
No, I'm just having to say
I thought we were talking about the Packers.
We're talking about the Packers.
Yeah.
But you keep on talking about the Succaneers. What you think they call the Cowboys?
Well, they do have a bunch of Super Bowl trophies, you know.
Like Green Bay ain't got any.
Yep. Well, it's been 10 years since Aaron even sniffed a Super Bowl. So,
look,
he is now 7-8 since his Super Bowl in the playoffs. 7-8.
I will admit, I'm most disappointed in Aaron in this game of all the other games, Skip, because I felt that given the season that he had, in those moments when his teams got those turnovers, he could cash one of those in for me. I'm most disappointed in him of all the playoff, all the championship games, because, Skip, it's going to be hard for you to win a game if you could only force the opposing quarterback to throw the ball 8 times. That's what Jimmy G, that's all it, Skip. You're not going to win a game if you could, in a passing league, if you could only force the quarterback to throw 8 passes. Aaron last year was 31 of 39, 326, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, which was Brady, better than what Brady did on Sunday. But because you get...
Wait a second, he threw 2 interceptions.
Yes.
He also fumbled 3 times and was lucky to lose only 1 of those.
Okay.
Which destroyed his QBR because it was terrible.
So in other words...
Didn't he have a QBR of 12?
So in other words, He had 3 turnovers, which was the equivalent of what Brady had on Sunday. He had 326 yards, which was 127 more than what Brady had on Sunday. He was 31 of 39, which is substantially better than what Brady was on Sunday. But his defense could not stop the run. Skip, in the Seattle game, like I said, he only threw the ball once on the last 2 possessions. Mike McCarthy got extremely conservative. It wasn't Aaron's fault they couldn't recover an onside kick. You know they get the onside kick, Skip, they go into the Super Bowl. Like I said, Aaron...
He stunk up that game.
Aaron,
He took more criticism over that game than he's taken for this game.
No.
The one at Seattle.
I'm more disappointed in this game because he had all the pieces to get the job done here. And he didn't get it done. He had 3 opportunities. They gave you 3 turnovers, and you cashed for 6 points. That's not good enough for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is better than that. So I'm of all the playoff, all the championship games that he's lost, Skip, I'm most disappointed in this one. But back to Jenny's original point, Skip, you know what he's doing here. So don't get cheap on me. He said, y'all been cheap for the longest time. Y'all been doing it, talking about y'all want to develop players. We got good players. Y'all better pay them or else. Now, let's see, you like Jordan Love. You traded up to get him. Let's see how much you like him if you don't keep those guys. Because I'm going to bounce on you. That's what I will do. I'll 22 you. Deuces!
Brilliant. You stink up the 4th quarter of a home playoff game against a defense without either starting safety. You're the #1 seed, and you turn around in your post-game press conference and put the heat back on management. I'll walk.
Can I ask you a question?
What?
Let me ask you a question. What do you think is more important, a safety or a left tackle in NFL football?
Well, you told me it wasn't going to matter, David Bakhtiari.
No, but Skip, I'm just asking whether
against Aaron Rodgers in that place on the frozen tundra, I'd say those 2 safeties are extremely valuable.
You saw what happened.
You got 2 safeties who've never really played much.
Skip, really? So so in other words,
really?
So you're saying that JPP and Shaq Barrett had no impact on the game?
No, well, obviously they did, but Antoine Winfield, as a rookie, has become the quarterback and leader of that defense by all accounts. Ask them.
No, Devin White's the leader of that defense.
No, he's not the leader. He's not the outspoken verbal leader of the defense.
No, he played. But Skip, you know Bakhtiari's impact was more, like I said, I underestimated because you look at it, I didn't fully look at the way I should looking at the LA Rams pass rush because it's an interior rush. Bucs is an exterior on the edges. Shaq Barrett, JPP got immense pressure. 5 sacks between those 2 guys.
But I would not underestimate how Sue and Vita Vea can push that pocket because they are both beasts in the middle.
Yeah, but they got him around the edges. I mean, I didn't get a chance to see him push the pocket
when there's no place to step up to. You're in trouble.
I mean, Aaron goes back. I mean, the first time when he tries to slide and the guys got him. I mean, one time he went back to pass, and before his back foot hit, Shaq Barrett's on him or JPP's on him. So, look, Aaron did not. I'm disappointed in Aaron because I know he can play better than this. But what he's done and what he's doing, he said, look at me, Mark Murphy, look at me.
Great.
Look at me. I'm the captain.
Brilliant.
I'm the captain.
Brilliant.
You remember the movie Captain Phillips?
Sympathetic figure. Way to go.
Irish.
Brilliant.
Irish.
So you love to compare Tom Brady to Aaron Rodgers and vice versa. So I'll sum this up by saying Tom Brady is about to play his 10th Super Bowl. Yeah. Aaron played one a long time ago.
Well, they both got the same amount of NFC Championship game wins.
Oh, okay. All right.
I just like hearing you say I'm the captain. So if you want to continue doing that, I appreciate it.
No mercy.
Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl is the football equivalent of Michael Jordan facing LeBron in the final. So think about this. Mahomes has started his career hot enough that he is the only current player that could potentially catch Brady. If Brady would defeat Mahomes, however, it would almost entirely cement Brady as the undisputed GOAT. So Shannon, do you agree with the Jordan versus LeBron comparison here?
No, because at this stage of his career, Brady is neither Jordan or LeBron. Brady's not recognized as the best player in football. Is he the best player in football? Yes, right as we speak right now, is he? I'm not talking about his accomplishments, the GOAT. Is he the best player currently? Absolutely not. Michael Jordan, at his last go-round, 96, 97, 98, was the best player. LeBron James, with the exception of Skip Bayless's eyes, is the best player in football. So Brady is neither one of those. I push back at the notion that if Mahomes boy loses, that it's over. Jordan lost a bird twice. He lost to Isaiah like 3 times. He was able to recover from that and build. So why couldn't Mahomes lose and then, turn around and win 5 or 6 of these things and be considered the GOAT? For me, Skip, look, I get it. I think everybody would have liked to see, 28, 29-year-old LeBron, 28, 29-year-old Michael. To say this is LeBron, this is, right now, how old is Jordan Skip right now? 55, 56? And LeBron is 30, and LeBron is 36. I mean, we close. Patrick Mahomes is about 18, 19 years younger than 18, 19 years younger than Tom Brady. So we're getting close, Skip. But I don't look at it like that, Skip, because I don't look at Tom as the best player in the league. And Jordan and LeBron, right now, Jordan was playing his tail end. He was the best player. So look, I get it. This might be it's hard to argue this is not the greatest Super Bowl matchup. It's hard to argue. I mean, Marino, Montana in '84. You say Elway in Montana in '89. Have we seen one comparable to that? This might be the best one, Skip. This might be, of the 2 guys. It's going to be hard. Interesting to see what comes down the pipeline after these 2. But I don't think so, Skip. I don't think this is a LeBron Jordan final matchup. Although I would have loved to see that, because then we would have no question. We know who the GOAT was. Yeah. We know. No, Skip. What happened to the nice guy? Yeah. Somebody would have started clapping. Somebody would have started clapping, and LeBron would have looked at him like, okay, I got this 21-piece coming.
It was a Tuesday night in January in Cleveland versus an 8-9 team.
8-9 team that beat a super team twice.
Without Kevin Durant.
The first time they had Kevin Durant put 147 on him, but that's none of my business.
Huge exception to your first point.
What's more?
Nobody is playing quarterback at a higher level right now than Tom Brady is playing.
Don't do that.
I'll just go with Pro Football Focus. Through the regular season, he ranked 2nd in the league to Aaron Rodgers, and he was 2 slots ahead of Patrick Mahomes. Just on pure overall grade, body of work, 16 games. Number 2 in Pro Football, said Pro Football Focus, the Bible. Then through the playoff run, 3 straight road wins, Pro Football Focus ranks Tom Brady in the playoffs number 1 above all quarterbacks. Number 1.
Can I ask you a question? Why would they play 3 road playoff games?
Well, because he was starting over with the Succaneers, who were 7-9 last year, and they got off to a little bit of a slow start when they tried to throw Antonio Brown into the mix. And then they had a bye week, and they took off and won 7 in a row, including 3 in a row on the road in the playoffs.
One thing, Skip. Tell me the game that he played that was the equivalent of what he did in Buffalo. Of all 3 playoff games, tell me the one game that Brady had, Washington, New Orleans, or Green Bay, which was the equivalent of what Mahomes did against Buffalo.
I told you Buffalo was a little overrated going into that game. It was in Kansas City. It was their baby, and they're just more talented than Kansas City, and he did what he should have done in that game. I liked Buffalo before the year started, but I never thought that they could really pull this off against that team. They were going to have that game in their place to have any shot.
That way we would have had them beat them, but you picked them. You picked against Mahomes, and I told you the guy that you don't pick against is 1-5.
I did, because it's like the cat with 9 lives, and I thought he had spent his 9th life, but apparently he's got 10 lives.
You've been looking.
They have been teetering for 10 straight weeks now. Teetering.
No, what happened is
they are daring the devil every week. Until Buffalo, they were daring the devil.
Because they're out. They're supposed to win by 10. They're supposed to win by 14. They're supposed to win by these numbers. You keep saying they keep winning these close ball games, but you keep putting something before close ball games. Keep winning.
Okay. Now, back to this question at hand. I'm going to defend your man, LeBron James, and I'm surprised you didn't in this question, because we're going to compare Patrick Mahomes to LeBron James right now? Really? What has Patrick Mahomes accomplished so far? Not much.
No, I'm talking about Brady. I'm talking about Brady. I'm talking about Brady.
No, well, I'm talking about the analogy here is Brady is Jordan and LeBron, Mahomes is LeBron, right?
Is Mahomes the best player in football? Yes or no?
Is LeBron not playing at the highest level? If you want to project him out over the next 5 years, I'll give you that. But the point is, we're comparing Mahomes as the challenger to the man. You know, everybody but you thinks that Michael Jordan is the runaway.
No, everybody don't think that. Everybody don't think that.
Sorry, you and 5 people on Twitter.
Hey, don't think there's no 5 people.
Okay, so
billions.
The point is, LeBron has obviously played in 10 finals.
Right.
Hadn't been great in those finals, but he got to 10.
Skip, he's been great in all the finals except one. Stop this now.
Really? Okay. So he does have 4 MVPs and 4 finals MVPs, and he's got 4 rings. And he's 16 times an All-Star, 6 times All-Defense. It adds up. His body of work is like light years ahead of Patrick Mahomes' body of work. So it's hard for me to make the analogy of the up-and-coming challenger, or at least LeBron is an established challenger. At least he's credible.
Let me ask you a question. When was the last time that people thought Tom Brady was the best player in the league? Because Jordan, last 3 years in Chicago, people thought he was the best player in the league. People think LeBron James, with the exception of you and a handful, there are some that believes Kevin Durant's the best player, but the majority of the people believe LeBron James is the best player in the NBA. The lion's share of the people believe Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL.
Okay.
So the comparison is that.
Let's look at his body of work so far, shall we? Yeah. I'll give you, he won an MVP. He played in 1 Super Bowl.
Yes.
And he was very, very lucky to win it because by his standards, he was shaky at best. In fact, he mostly stunk in that Super Bowl because his QBR was well below his season average. He averaged 78 last year during the regular season. He had a 64 for the Super Bowl. And do you remember what happened late in the 3rd quarter? They're down 20-10. Here's what happened. They're down 20-10. This is very late in the 3rd quarter. And he just throws it. I think Fred Warner was the target, right? Intended receiver. I don't know. And it's still 20-10 on the very next possession. It's early in the 4th quarter. And can we see what happened again? This is Patrick Mahomes on the biggest stage in the sport. Down 20-10. Whoops. High and outside to Tyreek, and that one gets picked. How can you defend that?
Hold on, Skip.
What?
Skip, in the Super Bowl, hold on.
What?
In the Super Bowl in which the New England won, Brady threw a pick 6,
okay,
right?
I don't care about that. I'm talking about what has Patrick Mahomes done? And so, time out. It's my turn. I'm talking 7.5 minutes to go in the game. They're back up 3rd and 15.
He won.
Stop it. 3rd and 15.
He won.
At their 30, what are they? At their 35-yard line. And he gets away with this. He's got a rush. He got away with it. Look, Tyreek had to stop his route and come back and wave for a fair catch on this. He just throws it up for grabs. That's like what Brady did to Mike Evans twice in Green Bay. He said, I'm going to throw a jump ball up. That's what he got away with it. It was extremely lucky.
Could Brady have made that throw?
Could he have made? Yes.
With that pressure on him. With that pressure on him.
You saw him do it to Mike Evans.
I saw 2 interceptions.
That ball should have been picked 5 ways.
Skip.
What are you talking about?
Skip.
And then guess what? Jimmy Garoppolo in the 4th quarter of that game goes 3 of 11 for a total of 36 yards. 3 of 11 and throws a pick, and he misses Emmanuel Sanders wide open. If we could see this. This is it. There's 140 left. He's wide open. This is a touchdown. You going to fire the defensive coordinator? Because this is going to win the Super Bowl for the San Francisco 49ers, and he missed him by 5 yards.
Hold on,
okay, that's how lucky you were to win your 1 Super Bowl. You weren't very good.
Skip.
And you're telling me he's LeBron James?
Skip.
No, he's not.
This is what I don't get. Now, you said Jimmy Garoppolo was 3 of 11. Your guy was 6 of 11 with 2 interceptions, but you said he won.
It doesn't matter. He's Tom Brady. He's going to his 10th Super Bowl. Leave him out of this. He's the GOAT. He's the runaway GOAT.
You see,
he even played at age 43. He played the best quarterback we've seen.
No, he was not.
Yep,
he was not.
Yep.
He did not play better this year than Aaron Rodgers. He did not play better than Patrick Mahomes.
No, he didn't play better during the regular season than Aaron, but he played better than Patrick Mahomes, who wasn't that great this year.
Skip, the guy, if he doesn't miss the game, he's going to throw for 5,000 yards, probably going to have 40 touchdowns, but he didn't play great. Think about what you just said. The man is about to have 5,000 passing yards, 40 touchdowns, and he didn't play great.
Is he the equivalent of LeBron James to you?
Yes, he's the best player in the game right now.
Well, that's not what's happening. The the guy who's playing the best is Tom Brady.
No.
But you can't see it
Skip,
because you don't like him to start with. And number two, the greatest genius is imperceptible genius. It's where it's so great you can't even see it with the naked eye.
That's what Mahomes is doing.
Oh, stop it. He's in your face, behind the back, between the legs.
And you mad because Brady can't do that.
Let me throw it left-handed.
Skip.
Brady doesn't do that.
Skip.
Brady is not a highlight film. He just keeps making throws. Look at all the Pro Football grades. Nobody had more big-time throws than Tom Brady. He led the league in big-time throws. He led the league in fewest turnover-worthy plays. How can you argue?
Who leads the playoff in big-time throws?
I don't know. I don't care.
You do know.
I know who went on the road to beat 3 straight top 10 defenses. Washington, wait a second. Washington was number 2 in yards allowed, and then we go to New Orleans, number 4 in yards allowed. Then we go to Green Bay, number 9 in yards allowed, and he shredded all 3 of them.
Why were they on the road? If Tom Brady is the GOAT, why were they on the road?
They made the playoffs. I told you all they need to do is get in the tournament.
Okay.
Wait a second. Do you want Tom Brady at 43 to start over with a team that went 7-9 and go what?
Is he not the GOAT?
16-0?
Is he not the GOAT?
Oh, yes, he's the
you get your home field throughout.
Guess who's in the Super Bowl? The GOAT. He's there.
Is Mahomes there?
He's there, and he's got a real good shot to beat Mahomes.
So Mahomes don't got no real good shot to beat Tom Brady?
No, he's got a shot. I'll give him a shot because he's got the 2 best receivers.
You see what you did?
By far.
Now he got the 2 best receivers.
A little bit of a product of those 2 receivers and Andy Reid, who's the offensive genius.
What is Tom Brady a product of?
Himself. He coached the New England offense all those years. He was his own coordinator, and now he's his own coordinator in Tampa.
If he coached them, why couldn't he do better in 2019?
He had no receivers.
But you said it's Tom Brady.
He had the worst receivers in pro football.
It doesn't matter.
He can't throw it to himself.
You just, Giselle, he can't throw it and catch it himself.
By the way, he still had another game-winning drive that got erased by Belichick's overrated defense in the final regular season game. They were in position to have the 2 seed, and Belichick spit the bit. And here comes Fitzmagic to beat them in the final regular season game, knock them out of the 2 seed.
So, in other words,
it was extraordinary.
Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate, Rob Gronkowski, Antonio Brown, they are nothing. They would be nothing without Tom Brady.
Did they make the playoffs?
Wow.
Yeah. Are they in the Super Bowl?
Wow.
Yeah.
Skip.
Okay, timeout. Do you think any of those players is better than Tyreek? Any of them? No.
I don't think Tom Brady's better than Mahomes.
Timeout. Do you think any of those players is better than Travis Kelce? Any of them? No.
Skip, that's not the point.
Oh, it is the point. He's a product of the 2 best receivers in football.
So what's Tom Brady a product of right now?
Tom Brady. Thank you for bringing that up.
Well, then you won't tell me why he didn't do this in 2019.
He got him to the 2 seed. He had a game-winning drive against the Dolphins in the last regular season game. He drove them 75 yards for a touchdown, and with 2 minutes left, it was over. And Fitzmagic went 75 for a touchdown.
Can I ask you a question? Did that drive that Fitzmagic put together, did it cause them to miss the playoffs? Yes or no?
No, it knocked them out of a bye and a 2 seed.
Okay, you at home. Now, you just told me how great he was because he went on the road and he beat the number 3 defense, the number 5 defense, number 9 defense.
Right.
Okay, he's at home.
What have you done for me lately?
Okay.
That's what I want to know. What did he do this year? Number 2 in Pro Football Focus and number 1 in the playoffs. GOAT.
Ain't no way.
Still playing. 43 going on 23.
I don't see, Skip. I don't see how. Against you see the shakiness against New Orleans. You saw the shakiness against Green Bay.
Shakiness? They went on the road. He beat Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers on the road.
The defense was unbelievable.
The defense was very good, but any Super Bowl team needs a good defense. You don't think Mahomes' defense is good? It's really good.
No mercy.
As things currently stand, the Cowboys are tied for the 11th best odds to win next year's Super Bowl, according to Fox Bet Sportsbook. And now Dak Prescott has signed a multi-year contract with Anheuser-Busch, worth big money, according to reports, but still hasn't moved any closer to getting a deal done with the Cowboys. So, Shannon, is this another reason that Dak should take a hometown discount with the Cowboys?
Hell no. I wish Dak might. Whatever Dak does outside of the Dallas Cowboys is Dak's business. It has nothing to do with the Cowboys. A lot of successful quarterbacks have endorsement deal. Baker doesn't play for the Cowboys. Skip says he's on every Sunday 15 times a day. Rodgers doesn't play for the Cowboys. He's on 15 times a day. Mahomes doesn't play for the Cowboys. Successful quarterbacks have contracts. And for one reason, Dak did not only played about 5 games. That's why you don't give discounts, because with one snap, it's all over. Dak Prescott, after what he went through, I can assure you, I'm willing to shove whatever I own that Dak Prescott is not giving the Dallas Cowboys the discount, because it can end too soon. And then what? You gave them a discount. You think they're going to give you that money back? Absolutely not. I want to ask you this, Skip. How many contracts did Quincy Carter have? He played for the Cowboys. What about Drew Bledsoe? He played for the Cowboys. There are a lot of quarterbacks that play for the Cowboys. They have these kind of deals.
For a minute, they both played.
Yeah, for a minute.
Right?
Yeah. But so let me ask you a question. If Dak Prescott doesn't start off 13-3, doesn't win Rookie of the Year, you think he's getting all these endorsements? I do not. Dak Prescott is smart enough to know. See, you see what they expect of us. Now, Jerry Jones gets his money from the NFL. He does a deal with AT&T. He does a deal with Pepsi. The NFL don't say, well, Jerry, you need to take a little less money here because you got a deal outside with AT&T. You got a deal with Pepsi. They don't do that. If I'm Dak Prescott needs to understand. And I think Todd France, a little bit that I do know of Todd France, he understands. Dak is a business just like the Dallas Cowboys. What's in the best interest of Dak Prescott, Inc.? Giving discounts, not in the best, because here's the thing with a discount. This is what you know. Go check high-end retailers. Go to the Montage. Go to the Four Seasons in Wilshire and see how many discounts they give you. You know why? Because once you give a discount, that's going to be the expectations moving forward. Go down to Rodeo Drive and get on Tiffany and Harry Winston and see how many discounts they're giving. Because if you start giving discounts, people will always expect the discounts. So I got no hookup for you, bro. Full price or get the stepping.
So if Dak Prescott were the quarterback of the, let's say, Buffalo Bills or the Minnesota Vikings, or I don't know, even the
Seattle or the Cleveland Browns.
Okay, where's Progressive Insurance based?
That means Dak Prescott would have that deal.
Would he? He has the edge that Baker does? No, he doesn't have the edge that Baker does. Baker Mayfield is a lightning rod, and Progressive jumped on him when he was hot through his rookie year when he finally got to play, when Hugh Jackson finally said, okay, here we go, and then he got fired. And he took off, and he's still taking off, and I think his star is still rising. But now back to Dak Prescott. Here we go again. What is the official beer of the Dallas Cowboys? Thanks to Jerry Jones and a deal that he made with Coors.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Where'd that go?
Oh, he went to Anheuser-Busch. So you're going to see a whole lot of Dak on national TV talking about Budweiser and Bud Light. I don't know, maybe even Bud Light Seltzer. That's their newest, right?
Well, if Jerry wanted to keep him, Skip, he should have went to Coors. He should have went to the banquet beer. Brewed in Golden, Colorado. I know Coors. Skip, he should have went to them and said, hey, look here, man, y'all do something for Dak. But that's not what he did. He looked out for Jerry.
Here we go. I've already told you these two have gone to war. It is a quiet, unofficial war, but it's a war nonetheless. And this was in Jerry's face. I'll sign with Budweiser. And the quote from an insider who knows what's happening in the deal, he's signing a long-term deal with America's Beer before he signs one with America's Team. Boom. Jerry, you like it?
That's not an accident.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, but I think he's with Genesco, who does Pepsi. But if he wasn't with Pepsi, I guarantee you, because Pepsi endorses the Cowboys, I bet you do one with Coke.
Maybe you will.
I think you with Genesco with Pepsi products.
Okay. You know how I feel about this. Even you acknowledged that the deal Jerry offered way back when was a fair market deal. You just knew the market was about to explode.
Correct.
And it was about to go to Mahomes, and then it was about to go to Deshaun.
Right.
And the new agent, Todd France, said, okay, we have to project out. We need 40+ million because if we don't get it, this deal will be rendered obsolete fairly quickly.
Yes.
And yet, that 36-ish, whatever it was, you know, again, I don't know, they're haggling over 4 years versus 5 years. I don't care that much about that, but even if it was at 5 years for $36 million, I still say there's much value to be had to trade off of being the quarterback of America's team. There's just still something. It doesn't matter how long it's been since they even played an NFC championship game. They are still Hollywood, Texas. That's what it feels like. It feels like Dallas is Hollywood in the middle of the country. And there's something about this team. We talk about Jerry Jones every day of the year through the regular season and much of the offseason.
Well, I just want to ask you this. How many of those corporate sponsors that put their name with Jerry, do you think Jerry gives a discount to?
Well, obviously, but there's a thing called a salary cap that Jerry does not have to operate on off the field.
What did D. Law tell Stephen Jones? That's your job to worry about the cap. My job is to worry about my play. So I'm gonna let y'all handle that. Y'all say let front office people handle front office stuff. So I'm gonna let you handle that. But I'm gonna get me my money. Because guess what, Skip Bayless? Now here's another thing. You know, Lamar Jackson's coming up too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys. Now, they saying, I don't know how true this is. I don't know Aaron Rodgers well enough to call him or anybody close to him, that he wants more money. I told you, the days of the 36 million, the 38 million, it was over. I told you that last year, Skip, it's 40 now. That's where it is. Jerry haggling over a few more dollars. And
has he earned that money with his play?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Sharpe.
It does not matter, Skip. You know how it is. You know how it works. Free agency is not about whether or not you earned it. It's about being free. So pay. It's going to cost you 40.
Okay. Guess who got his money in the same draft class?
Yes.
Was Jared Goff.
Yes.
He got his money. I saw Les Snead, the GM of the Rams, say yesterday he had to look at the calendar when he was asked about Jared Goff's future with the Rams. He had to say, oh, it's January 25th. Oh, he's the quarterback today as of January.
Yeah.
That's how little faith they have going forward.
And guess what
Jared
they said?
Goff.
He said, yeah, the cap makes it kind of hard to get off a player like that, but the cap can be worked. Everybody can work the cap except the Cowboys.
So wait a second. There's a quarterback you love, at least you used to love him. You called him walk it to him wins. I call him give it to him wins because he became the ultimate turnover machine last year. They gave him his money, same draft class as Dak Prescott. And now we're looking at Rams and Eagles, and they're both stuck with their quarterback.
Skip, do like the Rams and Eagles. Let him go. Why are you holding on to it? Why are you franchising him? If you don't believe it, why would you even franchise him if you don't believe in him? Let him go.
So I love Dak Prescott, but I don't love him as much as I love Deshaun or Mahomes. I don't think he's as good as those two. He's still a top 10 quarterback, edge of the top 10, maybe 10.
Okay.
But I can't defend what he's done in his last 17 starts. He's 6-11. It's not all his fault. It's some defense, but a lot of it's his fault because 6-11 last year, not this past season, but the year before, he wasn't very good the whole year.
But Skip, Deshaun Watson's looking at Dak Prescott's looking at history. No other player, be it quarterback, running back, tight end, D-line, DB, has you ever asked to give you a hometown discount? Only me is that you want me to give you a hometown discount. Bruh, I'm not Dollar General. I'm not the Dollar Tree, bruh. Now you pay full price here.
Okay, yet if I go back to 2 years ago, the Hall of Famer across from me down the stretch after he got off to a big 3-0 hot start against 3 bad teams, garbage teams. In his last 13 games, you gave him 7 Fs. 7 Fs. And then you said, pay the man, Jerry. Really? Well,
That's
that
how,
seems to be both sides of the mouth.
No, it's not, Skip. I understand how it works. You are free, Skip. You know the quarterback position is never really based on solely on wins and losses. They're projecting out. If you don't believe this guy projects out to be 40 million, let him go. Skip, if you don't project, it's like a relationship. If you don't project out being with her long term, let her go. Let him go.
Then to start last year, they go to the Rams, and I thought they could win the game, and Dak played pretty well, but they lost, and then they come home to play Atlanta, and they fall behind 29-10 at half. And as the Hall of Famer always tells me, did Dallas have the ball in the first half? Yeah, they had the ball, and they couldn't do much with it.
Only the Cowboys, only Dak had the ball. Because when I told you about when Tom Brady kept going 3 and out against Kansas City, you say that didn't happen.
And then Dallas came back and stole it, but you said it was a lot of like empty calorie runs that Dak threw for. And then all of a sudden they go to Seattle, and they fall behind 30-15, and they lose, and then they're down 17-3, and Dak got hurt in that game, but they're down 17-3 to the Giants, and Andy Dalton had to come in and save the day in that game. So what am I seeing here? What's the recent body of work? It's not that impressive.
Yeah, all you had to do was win 7 games this year. And you won the division. You had Andy Dalton. You had CeeDee Lamb.
I had Dak Prescott.
For 5 games.
Yeah, and it was going the wrong direction.
All I'm saying is this. You didn't have him. You didn't have. So how many games did Dak win? 2, right?
1.
Win 1 game?
He just won.
No, he got credit for Atlanta, and he got credit for the Giants because he started. So he won 2 games.
Well, he didn't finish that
He won 2 games.
No.
Y'all won.
Andy Dalton won that game.
And how many games did y'all win total?
Well, don't remind me, because it was a lot to do with the defense. But
No, not the defense fault.
Well, they had a chance the last game of the year, and my new coach decided not to challenge the most challengeable play I've ever seen, and it cost them the game.
What about your offense? How'd they do?
They could have won the division.
How'd your offense do?
It was hit and miss.
Oh,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it feels like a while ago, Skip, that you were optimistic about your new head coach. It doesn't feel like you ended.
Yeah, you got a made man.
I do remember
He
those
belongs
days.
in Green Bay. That stinking Packers
Those
team.
days. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
that was not the case for the Cowboys. We'll get back to them, I know, at another day.
No mercy.
Sunday, the famed Yukon Huskies go back-to-back in a special college hoops doubleheader on Fox. First, the third-ranked women's team takes on number 17 DePaul, and then it's the men's team battling St. John's. It all tips off Sunday at 12:30 Eastern and continues at 3:30 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Well, the countdown is on. We are less than 2 weeks away from Super Bowl 55, where Tom Brady's Bucs will look to avenge a Week 12 loss to the Saints. Kansas City got out to a big lead in that game thanks to Tyreek Hill going for more than 200 yards in the first quarter alone. Tampa did claw back into the game and made it close down the stretch, only to lose 27-24. Former All-Pro cornerback Antonio Cromartie is joining us. Crow, you look great this morning. But I hate to remind you, you did pick Aaron Rodgers over Tom Brady last week. So what shot do you give Brady this time?
I'm giving him a shot to win the game. I just think when you look at the way Tampa Bay's defense been playing, creating turnovers, and Todd Bowles been able to play with their front four with Shaq Barrett and Sue and Jason Pierre-Paul and those guys, it makes it a little easier on Tom Brady knowing that these guys can go out and make the plays. Week 12, it's over with. You know, at the end of the day, you just got to go into the game, and this is the biggest game of anyone's career, and you just got to go out and go play football. And I think Tom Brady has been at this, like I say, multiple times. You know, it's just 10 Super Bowls, so he understands what he has to try to do to get the guys ready, and those guys are going to gravitate to him to get that experience and understand what they have to do to go out and go win this game.
I agree. I give him a great shot to win this game because, as you mentioned, the defense is playing well. The two starting tackles for Kansas City is out, and we saw what JPP and Shaq Barrett did to Aaron Rodgers. They basically wrecked the game. He was under duress constantly. They put him down 5 times, and there were a lot of times that guys were because he was about to load up a home run ball, and Shaq Barrett hit him from behind, and the ball popped up in there, and it landed harmlessly on the ground. And that's going to be the key, Skip. I don't believe that you can leave Mahomes upright and win this game straight up. I don't believe they can do that. So they're going to have to pressure him. And even when you pressure him, even when you get to him, you still got to hope with the throws that he gets off, that he's off somewhat. Now, in his career, he hadn't lost a game by more than a possession, which lets you know more times than not, you have to get to the 30s. Now, we saw Green Bay get 26, New Orleans get 20, and I think the Washington football team, Skip, I think they got 23 points. I don't believe, and we saw Brady get to 30 in all those games. I believe it's going to take another performance. I believe it's going to take that point total. You're going to need to get into the 30s in order to beat Kansas City. And you're going to need to possess the ball. You're going to need to cash it in the red zone. And that's what teams haven't been able to do against them. Yeah, Tampa's giving up some yards, but when they get into that red zone, they lock it up.
Let's go.
They're making you settle for field goals, but the Buccaneers' offense are getting touchdowns. That's the difference in the ball game. So I give Brady a great shot to win, especially, but I'm going to do something that if they win this game, Skip, it's going to be because the JPP or Shaq Barrett will be your MVP because it's going to take them having a Von Miller-type Super Bowl in order for them to pull this off.
100%.
So I must have missed this. I must have been on the wrong channel the other day. I don't know. But did Tampa get to 28 by scoring 4 defensive touchdowns? I'm just...
No, Skip.
I don't remember.
On those 3 turnovers, how many points did they give Green Bay, the number 1 offense in football?
Did they scoop and score or pick 6 or what happened?
Skip, don't do that.
Well, how did they get to 28?
Well, let me ask you a question. What about that? What about that fumble that got ran down to the 8-yard line? What about that interception right before the half? What happened, Skip?
There you go.
Yeah.
They scored points.
Tom Brady played the greatest first half of his playoff career, and it is the GOAT career. He threw for 202 in the first half. He threw a party up on the frozen tundra. He did exactly what he had to do. He knocked Aaron Rodgers right back on his heels and made him doubt and kept him from front running up on the hallowed turf of Green Bay.
How many yards you said he threw for in the first half?
202.
So how did he end the game with 199? Crow, how you do that? You throw for 202 in the first half, and you end the game with 199 yards passing in the second total.
Yeah, who made all the plays in the fourth quarter to set up the field goal to get them home?
The defense.
It's all about the defense. You guys can't stand it that at age 43, Brady is back in the Super Bowl playing the best quarterback he's ever played.
Oh, my goodness.
Again, Pro Football Focus ranks him #1 in the postseason of all the quarterbacks who have played.
Where's Tampa's defense ranked? Where's Tampa's defense ranked?
Fourth in the postseason. And by the way, that defense, did you watch the Washington game? Taylor Heineke just went up and down the field against that defense.
Except when they needed to vote it back.
It was all Brady all the time.
Okay, what did Drew Brees do? What did Drew Brees do?
Well, he had his moments.
Okay. What did Aaron Rodgers do?
Yep. Well,
he had moments. You're going to have moments as a defense.
Hey.
Come on now.
Hey.
You got to give the defense credit. Todd Bowles is playing, is calling this play call at a very high level.
What team has ever won a Super Bowl with no defense? Help me out.
No, Skip. Well, I'm not saying, what you're trying to do is that you won't even acknowledge the defense.
I've been telling you all year, but you know what? They've been shameful much of the year. They have been torchable much of the year.
So Tom Brady's been great all year.
No, he hasn't been. He brought them to a boil. He took a 7-9 team and he showed it, taught it how to win. All of a sudden, they had one bye week late in the year, week 13. They started to take off in the second half against Kansas City when it was all Brady all the time with 2 75-yard drives to get them back to 27-24 in that game at Tampa Bay. And what happened? The defense couldn't get him the ball back with 4 minutes and 10 seconds left. Where was the defense when you need him? Because you give Tom the ball back in that game, he's going to beat you.
Crow, before you go, let me ask you a question. Where was Tom Brady those first 4 3-and-outs?
Well, did he get him back? See, the game has 4 quarters. It has 4 quarters. Where was that defense that you love? Tyreek had 203 receiving yards in the first freaking quarter.
You just told me Tom Brady had the greatest first half of his career.
He did.
But isn't there 4 quarters too? You just said there's 4 quarters to a game.
Yeah, but all you need is to get to 28-10, get to 31-10, because you realize in the last 7 games, they're averaging 36 points a game. Is that all defense? I don't know.
Skip.
Maybe I don't.
Skip, you said the defense is doing 7 turnovers.
You're creating, Skip, this is what you fail to realize. When you create turnovers and set up field position for your offense, that's a win for the defense.
Thank you.
At the end of the day, that's a win for the defense. No matter who scores the points, who calls the turnover, who's creating the short field for your offense, it's the defense. And that's what you got to take into consideration, the way this defense has been playing the last 2 weeks in the playoffs. The front 4 has been creating pressure on the quarterback to create those turnovers, and the DBs are finally making plays. They're getting their head around, and they're making plays. Of course, the offense is going to make a couple plays here and there, but it's about the plays that you make to set up your offense to go out and go score points, and that's what Tampa has been doing, and that's what Tom Brady and that defense has been doing, and it's going to continue that in the Super Bowl.
So you think Tom Brady was no factor Sunday at Lambeau?
See?
Well, that's what you're telling me.
No, Skip, you say it's all or nothing with you. Because if you give somebody else other credit, that means you took away from Tom Brady. You want to give Tom Brady all the credit. Against New Orleans, New Orleans is up by 7. Jared Cook has the ball. They're about to go up by at least 10. They're about to get a field goal at the bare minimum and go up 10. And what happened? Did Tom Brady do that?
Antoine Winfield Jr. happened, and I told you he is the quarterback and the playmaker on their defense. He didn't play Sunday at Tampa, and Aaron Rodgers couldn't do squat in the fourth quarter against the defense that lost both the starting safeties.
Skip, so what did Whitehead do? He was a game changer, caused two turnovers. Am I correct? That's what the football is about. It's about the next guy stepping into it and doing what they're supposed to do.
Okay, but wait a minute.
That's what Whitehead did.
Okay, but Jordan Whitehead got hurt on his second play of the second half. He caused a turnover in the first play, and then the next play that he played, he's gone for the rest of the game.
But he put him in position to make it look skill.
But we put him in position. We got a fumble recovery. He's got recovered by.
But time out. No. Aaron Rodgers had it 1st and goal at the 8 with a chance to win the game. Wait. He had it 1st and goal, and he goes, incomplete. And his coach says, I don't like our chances. I think I'm going to take Wait a second. Tom Brady gets it 1st and goal at the 8 after the turnover. And what's he do on the first play? Catches. He's the GOAT.
Let me ask you a question, Skip. So what did Tom Brady have to do with Aaron Rodgers not getting the ball in the end zone?
Well, obviously, you need some defense. They haven't had much all year, but suddenly it's starting to come together.
That's what we're saying, Crow.
Yeah.
You see, Skip. Thank you. It's all or nothing. If you give somebody else some credit, you're diminishing Tom Brady. Give the defense credit. Did you see that interception that Devin White got against New Orleans and run it all the way back, and they cash points in on that?
Yeah. You guys both cannot stand it. You're saying, I give him a great chance because of the defense. No, it's because the GOAT is at quarterback. That's why the defense has come alive. It's come of age right before your very eyes. You need it. When you won your 3rd Super Bowl, did you have a defense?
Yes.
Yeah, you might have the greatest defense ever. Yes. Okay.
But we needed the defense to play well. Skip, all we didn't have to do was turn the ball over. So in other words, so you think you can win this game. So you believe you can win a shootout with Mahomes.
You've been telling me that the score is going to be in the 40s. Well, you got to give Brady some credit if you think he's capable of scoring 40 against Kansas City.
Remember he threw for 505, but it was the one mistake. It was the one mistake was the difference in the ball game.
No, the mistake was that Belichick allowed 41 to Nick Foles. That was the mistake.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God.
Should I end with a sigh as well?
Give the man a little credit.
We are, but you want to give him all the credit.
Antonio, I appreciate you joining. You tried to help there, and we will check in with you again very soon. Have a good rest of your day.
No mercy.
Patrick Mahomes has started his career as hot as anyone, maybe even hotter than Tom Brady. Brady won a Super Bowl and 34 regular season games in the first 3 full years he was a starter in New England. Mahomes has already outdone Brady by winning 37 games in his first 3 full years as a starter, winning an MVP and winning a Super Bowl. Now Mahomes has a chance to win a second one next week against Tom Brady. So, Shannon, who has had the better start to his career, Mahomes or Brady?
Skip, I'm looking at individuals. I'm looking at the individual success, and then we'll break it down if you want to go team success. Okay, Mahomes, he's the first quarterback to reach 2 Super Bowls before the age of 26. He's never lost a game since his NFL career started by more than 8 points. He's 38-8 in the regular season. He's 7-1 in the postseason. He has a 5,000-yard passing season. He has a 50-touchdown season. He has a Super Bowl MVP and a regular season MVP. Team success, second Super Bowl, 3 straight AFC championship games, and he's won 25 of his last 26. Tom Brady's best season came in year 7, 2007, Skip, when he went 50 touchdowns, 4,800 yards. Patrick Mahomes did better than that in his first season as a starter. Brady early Super Bowl, Skip, they were 6th in scoring defense, 1st in scoring defense, 2nd in scoring defense. Mahomes' first 3 seasons as a starter, an MVP, 3 Pro Bowls. He's 1st in pass yards, 308, 1st in touchdowns. Chiefs are #1 scoring in that span. Brady first 3 seasons as a starter, 1 Pro Bowl, 14th in pass yards, 218 a game, 69 touchdowns. Patriots was 11th in scoring over that span. Mahomes has 3,600 more passing yards and 45 more touchdowns.
Okay, here is why, once again, you are outrageously underestimating and overlooking what Tom Brady did early on with almost nothing to work with on offense.
That was the question.
Okay, this is the start to the career. You have to put it in perspective. Patrick Mahomes, here are the Kansas City records the 3 years before he took over at quarterback. 11-5, 12-4, and 10-6. 3 straight playoff teams, and then he got to take over after he waited and watched Alex Smith for a year.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill was there. Travis Kelce was there. They were going into their primes. They were established as the 2 best duo threats.
Did we look at them like that with Alex Smith? No, we did not.
I think they were already there.
They were there.
Okay,
but did we look at them like that?
Okay, now let's look at what Tom Brady took over. The Patriots the year before were 5-11 with Bill Belichick, the GOAT coach, 5-11, and they had started that year 0-2. Tom Brady took over, and that year they did have 1 Pro Bowl weapon on offense, but only 1 made the Pro Bowl, and it was Troy Brown. And against the Raiders, a team I covered, in the snow, again, it was the Tuck Rule game, and they got a huge break because it was a bad call against the Raiders. It should have gone the other way. But Tom Brady was magnificent, quietly magnificent in a game for all the marbles at home. It was in Foxborough, and it was in the snow. But in the second half, he threw for 238. In the fourth quarter and overtime, he went 20 of 28 for 138. And they won the fourth quarter and overtime. They won the fourth quarter 10-0 and overtime 3-0. So he was already doing what Tom Brady always did in that game against the Raiders, which propelled them, obviously, into a Super Bowl game in which he went Tom Brady on, wait a second, the greatest show on turf, the St. Louis Rams. It was a great defensive job by Bill Belichick and the defense, starting with Ty Law. But look what Tom Brady did down the stretch of that game. This is the Super Bowl. While Patrick Mahomes, I just demonstrated, was very shaky in his first Super Bowl and very lucky to win against Kurt Warner and company, Brady, in that last drive, he completes passes of 5, 8, 11, 23, and 6. And if we could see the 23-yarder, this is 29 seconds left in this game, and he hits Troy Brown. That's a huge throw. That's 23 yards. That got them to a 54-yard field goal. And then on the next throw, he goes 6 yards to Jermaine Wiggins, their tight end, to get them to a 48-yard field goal. He's doing Brady things already, but nobody really even knew who he was. Yeah. And he wins the game with a late drive. Another one. He's won 6 rings with 6 game-winning drives in the fourth quarter overtime. Now, here we go to his second Super Bowl, which was a year later. By the way, he goes 9-7, his second-year starter. He has 0 Pro Bowlers, 0 on offense. Then he has 0 the next year, but they have a good year, and they get to the Super Bowl against Carolina. And he wins a shootout. Speaking of the defense, they win this game 32-29, and he faces a 3rd and 3 with 14 seconds left. Let's see this play if we could. 3rd and 3 with 14 seconds left. This is against Carolina. And he goes to Deion Branch on an out route. That's the game. That's for the game because that sets up the 41-yard field goal that wins the game 32-29. 32-29. But so you're telling me Patrick Mahomes hasn't done that?
Skip.
Look what he's doing. Look at it. Okay. He's already...
Skip, what about last year? 24 down... 10 down, 10 down, come back, win, win, win. You talked about that Super Bowl, his first Super Bowl that he won. Tom Brady, you said he had 55 yards in his final drive. He passed for 144 yards total.
Okay, well, what happened with the money pushed to the middle of the table?
What happened when the money was pushed to the middle of the table? Did Patrick Mahomes not win the Super Bowl last year?
Yeah, but he was lucky that Garoppolo missed the throw that should have won the Super Bowl.
So you see, Skip, what you do?
No,
everybody's lucky except Tom Brady.
Okay, but again, Patrick Mahomes threw late 3rd quarter interception, early 4th quarter interception, down 20-10.
Skip, it happened.
Lucky.
So Tom Brady's never thrown an interception in the Super Bowl.
Then he gets away with throwing a punt pass that gets fair caught by Tyreek and it wins the game.
I'm just asking you a question. Has Tom Brady ever thrown an interception in the Super Bowl?
Wow. Well,
but Skip, the man has only been. You can only be what you want. You can only win what you've been in. He's 1-1. Now he has an opportunity to go 2-0. I mean, but Skip, you look at the numbers. Brady was not asked to do. Brady could not do in his first 3 years what Patrick Mahomes is doing. You know that. I know that.
I don't think Patrick Mahomes could have done what Brady did in these 2 games. And again, in the second Super Bowl, he's the runaway MVP. He's 32 of 48 for 354 and 3 touchdowns. I don't know.
Skip. Hold on.
Did he throw it behind his back? No. Did he throw it left-handed? No. Did he throw a no-look? No. He just kept making complete passes.
So what are we going to do about these 45 more touchdowns and 3,600 more yards? Okay. What are we going to do about that?
I believe in Super Bowls.
Skip, hold on. No. That's a team goal. We said who's had a... We talk about Mahomes, Brady, head-to-head.
Who won the game for both of these teams with good defenses? I give you that, especially the first year. Second year was pretty good, but hey... This guy is unparalleled with the ball in his hands late in games. There's never been anybody as clutch
So
as this
Mahomes
guy.
is terrible with the ball in his hand.
No, I'm just saying. But late in that game, he was not very good in that Super Bowl.
Skip, he was down by 10. The start of the fourth, and they rallied and they won the game. What do you mean he wasn't great?
Garoppolo, 3 of 11 in the fourth quarter for 36 yards and a pick.
Hold on. Okay, so Skip, you can't Skip. You see what you do? Is that when somebody else is bad and they capitalize on it, you talk about Aaron Rodgers. What was Aaron Rodgers in the fourth quarter? He was 6 of 11. Tom Brady, you talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady did great.
4 of 11.
4 of 11.
Yeah.
Come on, Skip.
you discount what Brady was doing because it doesn't have wow factor.
No, you discounted what Mahomes is doing. You do realize he's 25.
Okay, I got it. He has an MVP and he has a Super Bowl MVP. I give you that.
So how many?
But I'm looking at the QBR in that Super Bowl and it wasn't great.
Was it
by his standards? It was.
I wonder what Brady's Super Bowl QBR would have been in that Super Bowl when you throw for 144 yards.
Oh, they didn't have it.
Yeah, I wonder. I'm sure we can go back and look it up. I'm sure you got stats that can go back and look it up and grade it accordingly.
In his first year as a starter, he pulls off game-winning drives against a Raider team that was really good.
First of all, you already disqualified it. You said it was a bad call, so that was done. So let's move forward. His first year starter, he had a better season. If you take Brady's greatest season, which is 2007, Mahomes pulled that off in his first year starting.
We'll see if he can pull it off at the highest level.
No mercy.
Tom Brady has steered the Buccaneers to the Super Bowl in just his first season with the team. While Brady has played much better than some anticipated at age 43, some have attributed it to his supporting cast, which Pro Football Focus ranked his receivers as the top unit in the league. Meanwhile, the defense has come up big as well, creating turnovers and shutting down opponents all postseason. So, Shannon, who is the most responsible for the Bucs making the Super Bowl? Brady, the Bucs weapons, or the Bucs defense?
I don't think you can say that one is because I think they go hand in hand. Tom Brady has been able to look like the old Tom Brady that when he was in his prime in New England because he's had great weapons. The defense has done an unbelievable job, Skip. They've created 35. The Bucs have scored 35 points off takeaways. They took the ball away from the Saints 4 times. They took the ball away from the Packers twice. So that's 6. So the most you can get out of that, Skip, is 42 points. They got 35. So they got 5 touchdowns off those 6 turnovers. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. And so when you look at it, Skip, in the grand scheme of things, in Green Bay, 5 sacks, 22 pressures on Rodgers, more than he's ever been pressured in a playoff game. And Brady avoided the mistakes in New Orleans game, and even though he did not avoid the mistakes in the Packers game, they didn't come back to bite him because his defense, as you say, Tom Brady brought the offense to a boil. Todd Bowles has brought the defense to a boil. So, Skip, for me, I'm going to give everybody their fair share, Skip. Everybody gets 33 1/3 because Tom Brady needed to be Tom Brady. The weapons around him needed to be substantially better than what he had. And that defense, when teams were getting down there in the red zone, they found the ways to bow their back. It's like, we'll give you a field goal, but we're not letting you in the end zone. And they might say, you know what? As a matter of fact, we're going to take the ball away from you. We're not going to give you anything. So I think there's enough to go around, Skip. I don't think you could definitively say, well, this is the sole reason or that's the sole reason. I can't do it.
Okay, but the sole reason to start with is that Tom Brady chose Tampa Bay. He is the greatest leader to me in sports history, and he had to install the Patriot way in Tampa Bay. And it took a year to do it. But along the trail, the defense, in fact, it was so bad, it was so torturable for much of the season, I didn't think it was good enough to get them to the Super Bowl I predicted they would get to. Because just briefly, think about what just happened, what you just saw during the regular season. Justin Herbert goes into Tampa early, 4th game of the year. He torches them in the first half, and it's 24-7 Chargers. And Brady comes out in the second half and goes 15-17 for 263 and brings them all the way back to win the game.
What happened right before the end of the half? What did Tampa's defense do?
They made a mistake. I mean, he made one big mistake. He's a rookie quarterback, obviously. But, again, he threw for 263 in the second half and 3 touchdowns just in the second half and brought them all the way back. Then Tom played the worst game of his career on that Sunday night against New Orleans, but the defense was right there in lockstep with him because Drew Brees would have scored the first 6 times he had the ball if Kamara hadn't fumbled at the 2-yard line.
That was Jared Cook.
It was Jared Cook at the 2-yard line. But the point was they couldn't stop him. It was a joke. They couldn't stop Jared Goff. He threw for 376, and they lost that night game. Then Mahomes goes in there and throws for 359 in the first half. And then at Atlanta, late in the year, they're down 17-0 at half because Matt Ryan threw for 235. What's Brady do in the second half? He comes out and throws for 320 and 3 touchdowns in the second half at Atlanta to save that game. And then what happened in the first playoff game? Taylor Heineke threw a party on them. He throws for 306 and ran for another 46. And what does Brady do? He throws for 381 and 2 more touchdowns and no interceptions.
If you look at the game, you said Matt Ryan, what did the defense do? They buckled down in the second half and then shut the light.
Okay, but Brady threw for 320.
Yes.
So again, he's still playing at the highest level.
Let me ask you a question. What could Brady have thrown for if the defense doesn't buckle down and keep Atlanta out of the end zone? Remember, they kept them out of the end zone twice. So if Brady throws for 320 and they let Atlanta into the end zone, would it have mattered?
Okay, but how many quarterbacks playing right now could have pulled off in the second half what he pulled off at Atlanta with 320 and 2 touchdowns?
Like you said about Dak, was he not getting the ball in the first half?
Okay, yeah, he was.
Okay.
I'll give you that. But was the defense stopping Matt Ryan? That was the worst they played all year, 235. So Bowles brought them to a boil, but it took a while.
Right.
It really took until New Orleans.
Did it take a while for Tom Brady to get this offense going?
I don't know. I just gave you some examples.
Okay, let me ask you this. You say Tom Brady's the GOAT, and he's playing like himself. Could he have done this in New England? Because if Tom Brady's playing like himself, the talent, Gronk, them, and AB, and Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin shouldn't matter. If you say he's the GOAT, and that didn't matter, he had everything to do with it, he should have been able to do this in New England. Do you believe he could have done this in New England?
The coach is trying to push him out the back.
I'm not talking about the coach. Skip, I don't care if the coach was pulling him in a chinchilla coat. Could he have done what he's doing?
The coach cost him a Super Bowl by not playing Malcolm Butler. How could you do that? And Tom threw for a record 505.
We've turned Malcolm Butler into Deion Sanders or Darrelle Revis. I don't know how that happened.
Well, he played the most snaps on defense.
He made the greatest defensive play in Super Bowl history. I will give you that. But can we stop with this notion that he's Darrelle Revis?
I think they would have won the game if he had played it.
No mercy.
Sunday night, after beating the Packers to get to the Super Bowl, Tom Brady and Rob Gronkowski recreated their famous Bad Boy for Life video from 2 years ago when they defeated the Chiefs in the AFC title game. The standout lyrics from the P. Diddy song, of course, are, "We ain't going nowhere." Appropriate. Shannon, give the video a letter grade, please.
Yeah, because this is what I know would have happened. Had LeBron James and AD done something like this, Skip Bayless would have said, "LeBron, why do you got to celebrate?" Michael Jordan would have never done that. So isn't it a little bit too early? Because you remember when Aaron Rodgers was sitting back there all in his chair and he seemed so relaxed, but we got the Super Bowl, we got the playoffs here. You creamed him. So I just want to hear you cream Tom Brady for doing this.
I give it an F. It was pathetic, but they do it just to get the GOAT does it to get your GOAT. That's what they do. Because you can't stand it. It's so lame, it's so cliched, it's so silly, and they're just having fun with it. I give them at least an E for effort. They're trying to do something.
Because I already know, had LeBron James and AD done something like this, the tweet would have come out. Ain't no way you gonna wait till
it's terrible, but it's beautifully terrible.
That's okay. Right? My homeboy's gonna have something to say about this here.
I don't even think it's terrible. I think I retweeted it. I love it. And Shannon, I do hope that LeBron and AD have a chance to recreate the video.
No, we don't do that.
Sake.
We don't celebrate like that.
For your sake, one day. You don't need it? Guys, that is it for Undisputed. Great stuff today. We'll be back same time tomorrow morning. Have a good day, everyone.